we always have running back night on Thursday. On Friday morning, we had to do a roll call to make sure that somebody made it back in from the Thursday night charades down on the plaza. But no, we had a good group. Did we run a toss crack pass? You threw a yeah.
Oh, don't mention the pass now.
That ball up there. That ball looked like a dead bird coming out of the sky.
I was waiting for it to come down. It would never come down. It just stayed up there.
You just threw that one straight up in the air. I'm like, man, where you throw the ball to?
I feel like 15 seconds floating around up there, man.
At least.
Priest has got me going into rooms like judging the situation based on how clean the baseboards are. I walk in, first thing I look at.
And pretty much, if the baseboards in the house are dirty, the house is filthy. Like literally, because my dad would always say like sweep the corners. And I hate to do this, but if I look at someone's baseboards, I'm like, man, I ain't eating here. I'm going somewhere. I'm gonna put you.
Yeah, give me the keys to the kingdom, 'cause I came, I saw, I conquered it all. Conquer.
So welcome to the home stretch presented by Bet365. I'm your host, Priest Holmes, and my co-host, Mark Seaman. What's going on, Mark?
Good to see you. Too much is going on, it feels like. You're coming off a Chiefs appearance, which we'll get into a little bit later, but we're in KC at the moment. But most importantly, we got a very special guest joining us on this episode today, Priest. So can I preach a little bit?
Yeah.
Can I celebrate this guy? Look. 9 straight years this guy blocked for 1,000-yard rushers. That's insane.
That's big.
I think about that and I'm like, that's just crazy town. And not unlike you, he was undrafted, but that led to 3 Pro Bowls, 2 second-team All-Pros. He's a Walter Payton Award winner, and he's a member of the NFL All-2000s team, the All-Decade team. And you know him as T-Rich. People who collected his card know him as Tony Richardson. And from what I gather, the word on the street is he's still blocking for you today in the grocery aisle. When you're going down, you got to get what you got to get. But Tony Richardson, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It was it's always great to catch up with my buddy Priest. We've had some great times together, shared a lot of moments. We used to break bread at my house every Thursday night. So Priest taught us how to cook and do everything else.
Oh, yeah. You taught him to cook? Wait, hold on. You haven't told me about this.
Well, T-Rich knows a little bit more about this story here. It was something, of course, that was handed down to me from Ernest Viner during my first couple of years with the Baltimore Ravens. He told me, there's a difference between just a NFL football player. There's a professional football player as well. You got to learn how to watch film. You got to be able to bring your group together of running backs and be all on the same page. So I kind of learned that early in my career. And then once I got to Kansas City, I talked to T-Rich about it and he was on board, and T-Rich, of course, he had the big mansion and had the opportunity to have the pool table, the game room, the video room, all the special necessities that you need, coming into the league. And we had a chance to bring all the running backs over there and had a great time. I think, T-Rich, do you remember some of those days, man? What was the best part about it, man? Do you even remember the restaurant that we would go to?
How did I not remember? We had Jack Stack, so we did barbecue.
Nice.
It was amazing because even funny enough, because our quarterback Trent Green lived not too far, so Trent sometimes would stop down, and it was interesting because once a lot of the other groups on the team found out what we were doing, they all wanted to kind of come by. We're like, listen, man, this is for the running backs, and it was a good time, and it was a bonding because everyone always asked me like, who was your favorite running back to block for? And I said, Priest. I said, because the way we sat and watched film together, I knew exactly where Priest was. I knew what he was thinking. I knew how he was going to set the blocks up. I knew things that we had kind of talked about because all of a sudden it was like, people were like, man, how'd you guys break all those big runs? It was like, we broke those big runs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got to the game on Sunday. Everything kind of fell in place because we were fortunate to have a great offensive line and the best blocking tight end in the NFL and Jason Dunn. So yeah, we had something special going.
What were some of the nuances? I just talked about the tight ends just recently. So Tony Gonzalez and Jason Dunn, we called one the catching tight end, and then we had one that was the true blocking tight end. You mentioned Jason Dunn, man. What was special about Jason Dunn that you remember?
To tell you the truth, Priest, I tell people all the time, it's like, before JD actually, before he hurt his knee, JD was probably arguably on schedule to be one of the best overall tight ends in the National Football League. But then he hurt his knee and it kind of slowed him down a little bit. But I think the biggest thing is like literally JD could have played. I mean, he could have been a primary target as a tight end, but he could have played offensive line. Like he had just an innate ability. Once he got his hands on you, it was pretty much over. And now the biggest thing we had to do was just get JD to practice on time and get him on the game on
Oh
time.
no!
But once he got there, I mean, he was I mean, he made our whole. Literally, we couldn't have been as successful as we were in the running game, and nor in the passing game if it wasn't for JD. Because we kind of built everything around the skill set and what he brought to the table.
So you talked about JD being on time. Was there another player that you can think of that if it wasn't JD coming in right before the game was about to start, there was probably another running back that you knew. Don't worry about if he's gonna be there. He's gonna be there, but just don't be waiting on him.
Hey, that was the biggest thing. We just worried about who's he gonna get there. That was once he got there, he was ready to roll. But yeah, we had a number 27 that we had to get him to the game. Once we got him to the game, got him to practice, everything else was good. And then, the key thing is we always have running back night on Thursday. On Friday morning, we had to do a roll call to make sure that somebody made it back in from the Thursday night charades down on the plaza. But now we had a good group.
Yeah. So Mark, what he's talking about is that we would have the Thursday night running back. It would be an hour where we would watch film, and then also the first hour we'd kind of hang out, eat barbecue, talk about each other, what each other did wrong or whatever they did right. But after that, most guys like myself, that I would say, hey, I'm going to be a professional running back. I'm going home, right, to get ready for the next day of practice. Well, we've got some younger guys, like Larry Johnson and a few of the other ones that felt like that was the time that they needed to escape and enjoy themselves, So T-Rich, they would go out and have a bunch of fun, and that's that roll call we talked about to make sure these guys were staggering in the next morning and making sure they got into the steam room.
Hey, Priest, we remember because we always knew what kind of night it was going to be based on how they came dressed. So if the guys came in like sweats and like flip flops, like, okay, cool, everybody going home tonight. But if they came in, they had that G Unit shirt on,
that's
and
right,
the chains, and smelling good. We're like, yeah, it's gonna be a long night for somebody.
They're going out.
Film. We're just watching film. Nobody can even see you. But
yeah, for sure. Hey, Scott, it was pre-gaming.
That's so funny. So okay, so you guys kind of had to be watchdogs a little bit too, and make sure they got there in time. So when you get to the level you guys were at and you're pro like that, and you do see youngsters come in, what's the biggest advice you give them right out of the gate? Like Tony, you've blocked for so many stud running backs, but when you'd first meet them, what was the first thing you like to say to your new running backs that you're going to be blocking to and you're blocking for?
I think the biggest thing is that, as Priest mentioned, is that, and I had a great running back coach early in my career, Jimmy Ray, and just understanding that, he always used to call us a pro. He would like pro. And then all of a sudden you just kind of, as the years went on, you just started understanding that it's a difference between being a football player and being a professional. Being a professional, this is your job and this is your livelihood. And not only is it your livelihood and your job, but there's a lot of other people that are counting on you. And, so it's one of those things you just have to, and I get it. We understand because, Priest and I were kind of cut from the same cloth coming from a military background. So we kind of understand that. We understood that structure and all that kind of stuff. And we understood, and I get it. And when you're young, you want to go out, you want to enjoy yourself, you want to enjoy your career, but also realize how fast it goes by, and understanding that in a blink of an eye, it could be over. And so, one thing that we always just want to try to, impress on our group, because, everyone's counting on you. And we were playing at such a high level that if you missed the blocking assignment, if you didn't know what you were doing, or if you came in late, then it really affected the entire group. So we were just trying to teach guys how to be true professionals, both on and off the football field.
Well, I'm glad you brought up your background a little bit, because I want to turn on the Wayback Machine, because you have a little bit of a unique situation where you were dipping in and out of the U.S. You were in Germany most of your childhood, right? So can you talk on that, both what came out of that was positive, and also what was limiting when it came to that? Because you kind of were a late bloomer when it came to football, right? It wasn't until high school it kicked in for you?
So, so my dad served in the military 32 years, Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart. So it was kind of interesting because, first 2 years I was in Germany, then we moved to El Paso, Texas for 3, back to Germany for 3, Fort Knox, Kentucky for 3, back to Germany for 3, and then finally Alabama. I think there's pluses and minuses. I think the minus is the fact that I have zero childhood friends, zero. I don't have not one person that I can recall from my childhood that I actually grew up with, or I don't remember a teacher. I don't really remember a school because we were always moving every 2 to 3 years. So that part is kind of difficult, because there was no social media. There was no, I mean, it wasn't even MySpace. There was no Instagram, Twitter, where you wouldn't be able to keep up with people and, different things like that. So that was kind of a negative. But I think a positive is that it really taught me like how to adapt and how to culturally, understand different people and different backgrounds. Because when you're in a military family, as Priest will attest, the only thing we really have in common is the fact that our parents were in the military. And so we were just in a big melting pot. And so all of a sudden, every 2 to 3 years, I had to reintroduce myself. Hey, my name is Tony Richardson. I just moved from here. So every time I walk into the room, I always felt like if I walk into a room with 100 people, at the end of the night, I'm probably going to have 20 people that I've really bonded with, just because that was my whole life of having to readjust and, really learn how to fit in and all those kind of things. So I think it helped me tremendously, and just understanding, like, like I think growing up as a kid, I guess I never really got a chance to understand and see color, just because everyone in the military is just black, there's white, there's Asian, there's Hispanic, and we were a bunch of kids in a melting pot. So finally going to when I get to Alabama, that's when I first realized that I was different from everyone else, and they were looking at me like, here's this kid listening to AC/DC, Metallica, kid with holes in his knees, talking about Rally Dude, and they were like, man, who this dude right here speaking German? So that was an adjustment, and so yeah, that was kind of when I first started playing. Football was like my 10th grade year in high school. And it was kind of the thing that, one of my buddies was like, hey man, you should come out for the football team. And I was looking at these football pads like I didn't know what was going on, but it was one of the first times that someone actually invited me to do something, and that's kind of how I got my first entry into football.
Yeah. So T. Rich, you touched on two particular things, and one of them I wanted to just say, I've got two younger daughters, 13 and 15. They're both homeschooling, and so one of the things that I can kind of relate to when you're talking about not having those friends is sometimes even with homeschooling, it's difficult that they're not seeing their friends on a daily basis. So I've had a chance to get our kids involved in like swimming. They go to the YMCA. They have times where they can break out with their friends, and I know that is very important to growing up. And then the second thing also, I want to talk about some of the things that was instilled in you and some of your characteristics. Like for me, I tell people, I even shared this with Mark, I had to clean baseboards coming from a military
I knew we were
background.
getting there. I knew we were going to get there.
So I had to clean baseboards on Saturday mornings before I went outside. So what was one particular thing that was instilled in you?
Hey, Priest, man, it's so funny you say that. I clean my baseboards every Saturday. Like, no joke. like literally no joke. Like it's some people just like, man, why do you have a cleaning lady? Like, I think my cleaning lady comes in here and does a 360 and walks up out of here. Like literally yesterday, since the Jets are playing, since it's, they didn't play on a Sunday. All day yesterday, I took both of the dogs went to the groomers. I took all their beds, got them all washed. The cleaning lady came. She came and she was just in here, cleaned the baseboards. I did the baseboards on Saturday. My closet's color coordinated, like my cabinets, like everything in my in this apartment is organized and neat. And I think, Priest, to tell you the truth, to really kind of get, I guess, a little personal, I think it's really hurt me from a standpoint because I'm, still single and never been married, never been engaged. And I don't think I give a lot of people grace. And I kind of understand that now, just, obviously seeing, therapists and talking to different people, because like for me, it's very difficult. Like if I have a friend over and they get up and then don't take the hair out of the sink or don't, make the bed. I'm like, how do you not make the bed? You know what I mean? Those kind of things are like, oh, you're just going to throw your shoes over there in the corner. I'm like, that kind of stuff that drives me in the wall. So I don't think I just can't. I'll go to someone's house and just all of a sudden start organizing their magazines like an idiot. So it's just one of those things. I can't really deal with clutter. I'm at the restaurant and like the waitress is taking too long. I done stacked the plates up. I'm handing it to her the dirty dishes. Like those little things. I think those kind of things. And it's not anything I'm ever going to apologize for, because I'd much rather have the organized, neat and things in place versus total chaos in my life. So I always know if things in my life aren't going like they should, it's probably because like things aren't really organized and to my standard. And so I always do self-checks. So like, man, I'm always reorganizing my closet. All the cars are clean, organized. The dogs, my dogs catch it, man. They're like, man, can we just sit down and be dogs? I'm like, no, y'all gonna put them toys back in that box. So, it's a trait that I love, man, and it's something I think because I think, as you know, Priest, you can give your kids a lot of different things, but the number one thing that my parents gave me was discipline, and that's carried me for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's really good. There's two things I was going to say that you have in common with Mark here, my co-host,
Yeah.
is one, when you said AC/DC, I don't know if you noticed about Mark, he's a former drummer, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a musician. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
And I love music my entire life. And like you, I grew up in an area where it was so mixed, and I literally listen to there's two types of music, good and bad. And I give everything a chance, because you could be passing up on your favorite thing. You just don't know it yet. But I got to say, Tony, you got a friend in me when it comes to OCD. I don't know if you can see these helmets here, but I sat here for about 20 minutes before we started making sure these were even and like aligned, because I'm the same as you. I'll go over to a friend's place and I just see like shoes in a pile on the side, and I'm like, my brain is like, oh my God, like I'm getting you a gift. It's going to be a shoe organizer. We're going to clean this up. Same thing, man. So I'm with you. I'm with you on the OCD, man. I got it bad.
It makes it difficult though for me. Like I don't like, if I'm getting ready to travel or whatever, like my house has to be spotless. They're like, dude, why are you cleaning up? Like, I'm like, dude, I can't come home and things aren't in place. And so it really affects me from a standpoint of, like, if I'm planning to go somewhere like on a Friday per se, I'm starting to get everything organized on like a Wednesday. People think I'm crazy, but it's like, I'm with you, bro. I'm kind of the same way. Like, I'm always reorganizing things. I'm always priest remember, like things are just kind of neat, organized and in place. And if not, then I felt like things are out of order in my life.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers, Priest, $5. You just bet that and you can get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So sign up, place a bet for $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
Bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, futures, and so much more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only. 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly, and you must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, and Kentucky, as well as Louisiana and select parishes. Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only. Look, I didn't think that baseboards was going to be a theme from episode to episode on this podcast, but it definitely is. Priest has got me going into rooms like judging the situation based on how clean the baseboards are. I walk in, first thing I look at.
And my dad, because if your baseboards are dirty, like pretty much if the baseboards in the house are dirty, the house is filthy. Like literally, because my dad would always say, like, sweep the corners. If you look at the baseboards, and I hate to do this, but if I look at someone's baseboards, I'm like, man, I ain't eating here. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to if your baseboards are dirty, your house is a hot mess. So I'm always
hysterical.
Looking at baseboards.
Yeah, hysterical. He said a hot mess.
Now, how did Tony? Can I ask you? This if it's too personal, don't answer. But
no.
when it came to playing, then. And did you have specific rituals before you took the field? If you were with teammates that maybe weren't as organized as you were, like, did that affect your gameplay? Or did that all kind of just melt away once the whistle blew? Or did those two worlds collide?
No, I think when you're in the midst of it, like, you don't, because you kind of like, and I guess the NFL kind of hardened you, because we always say the NFL stands for not for long. And so, I think the fact of coming into the National Football League as an undrafted free agent, you kind of have to have tunnel vision. You really can't really worry or care about what someone else is doing, because you got to take care of yours. And it's sad you kind of have to feel that way, because I think, and Priest will attest, because it's like in the off season, we're doing the off season program. We're spending more time with our teammates who are trying to make the team than you spend with your own family. And so all of a sudden, when it gets down to that cut day, and fortunately for me, I was only released once, and that was my rookie year with the Cowboys. But all of a sudden, that cut day comes around, you look up, and you've been out there with 99 of some of your closest buddies. That cut day come down, there's 40 people gone that you might not ever see in your life. So that part kind of hardens you from the standpoint of, like, you know what, you just got to take care of yours, because in a blink of an eye, it could be over, and they have you up out of here quick. So you don't really, if you see a teammate or someone kind of straying or doing some things, you might mention it to them. But like for us, one of our closest guys, like you said, was Jason Dunn. Like, and Priest would know, if we schedule a dinner and we wanted JD to be there at 7. We had to tell him it started at 5, and he still show up at 8. So that was just that was just
wow, you had to give him a 3-hour window.
Hey,
Yikes.
no, seriously. Hey, the funniest thing was at Coach Mills Hall of Fame induction, I'm talking to JD and I'm like, okay, you got to be here for this. You got to be here for this. You got to be here. JD missed the whole everything. I get to Coach Mills' party. JD at the door greeting everybody. I'm like, but it made it seem like he was there on time. He missed the induction. He missed the dinner. Missed everything. We just kind of got used to it. If you told JD if you told him that if dinner was at 8, you had to tell him that dinner was probably going to be at 6. And he would probably still show up at like 9 o'clock. That was just Jason Dunn. But, we loved him to death. And he had that type of personality where you'll be mad at him because he might hold you up or whatever. And as soon as he get there, he started laughing. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, that's JD. So,
everything's good.
So you just kind of, you kind of get into that zone where you just take care of your area and your spot. You don't really try to judge anyone else if they're not as, because you see, you playing in national football league, you see some guys, you're like, man, you're not even going to attempt to get in the shower before you go home. And we're like, so that kind of stuff there, I'm like, no, man, you ain't sitting in my car.
Yeah, and his baseboards definitely are not clean. That's for sure.
More than baseboards ain't clean.
So T-Rich, I got a question for you. So just thinking back and going kind of blast from the past, do you recall I guess it's the first 2 games, how that kind of transpired, where they had brought me in to be the starting running back, but you ended up with more carries than me the first 2 games. And it wasn't until that 3rd game, we kind of talked about this previously. And it was like, what did it take for you to really have that point for me to where I thought like, okay, my time has arrived. It's clicked. I know what to do offensively. And I said, I really have to credit it back to T-Rich because it was you who went upstairs to Coach Ramil and to the coaching staff and says, wait a minute, you guys aren't giving Priest the ball, So I wanted you to touch on that real quick, man, just to talk about some of those early beginnings of me in Kansas City.
Yeah, it was funny because we shared the story. Actually, when I got inducted into the Chiefs Ring of Honor and I was there with my parents, and I was about to lose it. And I was just getting emotional. I had to have Priest come up and tell the story. But, it was one of those things. It was like, because I was the primary ball carrier and we really didn't quite know what we had in Priest. I think it was after that 2nd game and you blew it open. And I'm like sitting here like, man, I can't do that. You know what I mean? But I realized at what our style of offense, like what would serve us both is for both of us to be on the field. And I do remember going to Coach Mill and just like, Coach, we got to figure out a way because we got to get Priest the ball. And from that point on, I mean, it was I go back and look at some of our highlights, man. It's just like, some of the things that you were able to do from, I mean, just to be able to catch a screen at 10 yards and take it 80, you know what I mean? Like, and all those different kind of things. And so it was just, I think it was that mentality that I think we were both raised with, that if, especially in the military background, it's like, it doesn't matter who gets the credit as long as the job gets done. And as long as if I'm doing my job and we win, that was the best thing for me. And I think once, I went back to fullback and then you took over the primary carries, I think our whole offense, it was amazing. I'm just like, we should actually get on the coaches about that. Cause I'm like, man, what were y'all doing? Why did it take 2 games to figure this out? But we had a special bond, bro.
It really was.
That's super. And look, he points out once again, Priest, and we've talked about this before, that it's about that, right? How can the job get done and what's the best way to do it? So to have the mindset to say, hey, I don't need to be the primary ball carrier. That's not going to be my role here. My role is going to be this. Let Priest do his thing. Is that difficult for players to do? I mean, for you with the military background, it's instilled in you to do that. You're on a mission and it's like, how can this be best served? But not all players are like that, right? Players are in there, give me the ball. It's me, man. It's all me.
You think about it too, and when I was in the midst of it, I never thought about like the longevity of a career. But you just start thinking like, had I not made that decision, or had we not made that decision, I might have only played maybe a year or maybe another 2 or 3 years, just because the thing that was best served for me was to be that guy kind of behind the scenes per se. But and for me, it was perfectly fine. Like the fact that I got more glory, I got more happiness of pre-success, but our pre-success led on to our team success. So it was like when we were breaking records and doing all those things, we were winning. So it wasn't just like we were just putting up empty stats. Like we were literally like winning ball games and like putting ourselves in position to unfortunately, we didn't get to the big one, to the Super Bowl. But we were putting ourselves in those positions to do that. And I think that's the mentality that our team had, was just like, you know what? And we really didn't have a lot of me guys. I mean, there was a few. Every team has it, and I think it is. When you get to this level, like, some guys are always about me, 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 me. But if you do that in this league, you're not going to last very long, because first of all, people don't want to be around people like that too much. And I think for us and what we had a really special group, and then the bond that Priest and I had was so special. Like, you know what? If I'm blocking and you scoring touchdowns, we're getting our jobs done, but we're both going to get to shine. And that was probably the best thing that happened to us, is that we worked well together so much.
Well, that was all that good cooking too that Priest was serving up on Thursdays.
Well, Priest just used to place the order, so I shouldn't have said cook. So
okay, now the truth comes out.
We had a spread though. We did Jack Stack barbecue. We would do those. We do burnt ends. We do the baked beans, macaroni and cheese, cornbread. Like, we were. We had a spread. It was, and they took care of us too. Like, it was every Thursday. And by the time we got there, they had it ready for us. It was all packed up. They took care of us.
Yeah. So T-Rich, you talked about having that special bond. A couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to jump on a podcast with Marshawn Lynch and Michael, his fullback, and had a chance to just talk about different scenarios and things like that. But in terms of that chemistry, for those two guys, we talked about what would be your best run, or how would you like to approach the game. And so for Marshawn, he was saying downhill. I'm not trying to go to the perimeter. I just want to go downhill and bust through the gaps. For us, what do you think was something special about what we did, and what was our approach to the game?
I think our play was I know exactly. Our play was that toss crack.
That's right.
It was a toss crack, because the thing about it was, like, it was funny too, because we would go into a game like, man, they don't have a chance today. Like, we literally knew that they couldn't stop us, just because. I mean, it was just because JD was going to pin the end, and then we were going to have a kick out, and then I would hit just in the zone. I mean, in between, like, the lane, and I knew exactly where Priest was going to be. Now, the way we ran it, like, there could be times where Priest would get up on my upfield shoulder, and just depending on how that leverage was playing, or he can cut it back. And that was like, that play, every time we dial it up, we're like, okay, we finished. Especially if we got down in the 20. If we got down in the red zone, you call toss crack, it was gonna be a touchdown. So I think that was our bread and butter.
That's right.
Love
Did we run a toss crack pass? You threw a
Oh, don't mention the pass now.
That ball up there, that ball looked like a dead bird coming out of the sky.
I was waiting for it to come down. It would never come down. It just stayed up there.
You just threw that one straight up in there. I'm like, man, where you throw the ball to?
I feel like 15 seconds floating around up there.
At least cheerleaders are trying to catch it.
Well, I want to zero in real quick, Tony, on the word fullback for a second, if I can, because I feel like maybe in today's terminology, when we talk about football, it could feel like a little bit of a dying art, right?
Yeah.
There might not be as many plays designed for a fullback, or for them to be involved as much with how much the passing game is dominated recently. Talk about the fullback position specifically, how it's changed, and what you like and what you don't like about where football's at with fullback.
Yeah, it's funny because, obviously living here in New York, I had on my Chiefs Super Bowl sweatshirt, and someone was like, man, don't you wish you were playing for the Chiefs right now? I'm like, man, if I was playing for the Chiefs right now, I wouldn't even be on the team, because they don't even attempt to get into an I formation. So it's kind of one of those things. I think, obviously, with the evolution of the game, and understand that you can't touch a receiver past 5 yards. I was with Brandon Marshall the other day. He was like, man, if I was playing today, man, I'd have 1,000 yards a game, because you can't touch the wide receivers. To where now it's a passing league, obviously, as we know. And the fullback position, I mean, there's a few teams I still, like, as Priest mentioned earlier, like, I try to keep up with, like, most of the fullbacks. We kind of have like a group chat. So CJ Ham with the Minnesota Vikings, he's a guy that I talk to quite a bit. Alec Engel from the Dolphins, I talked to him, and then Huschek. So there's a few guys. The guy in Baltimore, Ricard, that dude, he's pretty much he's a three technique. So he's unique though. I mean, because with his blocking ability and the way he can run routes and things like that, I was never able to do that. But I think for me, I think it's cyclical, because as the season goes on and you start to see teams that actually have success, they start running the ball more, obviously with, Saquon last year winning the Super Bowl, but even then they don't really necessarily use a fullback. But I think that the fullback, like you said, it's probably one of those positions that's going to be around, and we're going to be kind of talked about like dinosaurs, like we used to exist, maybe, but they don't know. But no, I think it's still an art. But now teams want to get like a tight end because they know they can motion out the backfield, go run a 7 route, which is a corner. Like that was not in my wheelhouse to be running all those routes. So I think it's starting to come back, but it's definitely it's kind of getting phased out a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like it's a lost art, but one that
Yeah.
teams could probably use, right? I mean, if they
Yeah.
would.
But you know what it takes? It takes patience, and that's the thing that even when I watch the Chiefs play, and obviously the Chiefs are rolling, but it takes patience when you look at the end of the stat line, and it's like, okay, the tailback had 30 yards. You got to be committed to the run because the thing about it is teams are trying to score at such a fast race, and if you're down 14-0, the running game is over, and that's the biggest thing. Is like when Priest and I played, like most teams always set up the run in order to get to the pass, where now teams are like, okay, we got to set up the pass and then maybe run to close the game out. And that philosophy for me is not something that if I was running a team, I couldn't coach a team that way. But that's what the evolution of the league is. And that's literally what I think the NFL wants. They want a high scoring. They want a 40 to 40 overtime game, where for guys like Priest and myself, like we want to establish the run, because first of all, and nowadays in this day and age, I probably wouldn't even play more than 5 years because teams don't run the football.
You talked about more than 5 years. Now that the salary is a lot different, these days. When you see a guy that's making 90 million, 70 million, over 100 million, do you think that there's a reason why they would play more than 5 or 6 years? Like, what would be the incentive for them to continue to play if they've already got $90 million?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Priest, because I currently work for the league office in the NFL Legends community, and I even just look at what guys' benefits are. And if you played at the minimum salary for 5 years with all the benefits the way they are now, I mean, you're pretty much set. So the day and age of guys playing 10, I mean, for a tailback at 10 is a lot. There will never be. I say this right now. There'll never be another tailback that plays 13, 14, 15 years. Those days are over. And I think a lot of it does have to do with the salaries, but also just how they phase running backs out, because they feel like, okay, they 30 act like 30 is 100, and I'm just like, come on, man, the guy's 30 years old, and I think he has 1 foot in the grave. But I think now is just the way teams are bringing in like 4th and 5th round draft choices at tailback and not really paying them. I think now there's been a switch where some tailbacks are getting paid. They feel like I could just go get 3 of these guys and then use them up for 3 years and then go get 3 more. So I think those days of guys playing, 10, 15 years at the running back or the fullback position, I think those days are over. And obviously it does have a lot to do with the salaries, because, you're starting to look up, you're like, who's that third string offensive guard who just got a $70 million guaranteed contract? Wow. Hey, good for them.
That's right.
How do you build? I mean, hearing you say that, Tony, and you too, Priest, like, how do you build a team? Because then now you're going to have all these contracts so staggered from each other, right? Yep. And you can't have guys wait around till they build an offensive line or they build a receiving core or whatever they're working on. I mean, those teams are just in constant flux. It just seems like.
And you start. I'm gonna tell you where you're really starting to see a lot of problems is even when you look at the dynamics of the locker room. The highest paid guys now are the team leaders. Like there's no, like when Priest and I came into the league, there was always that 7 to 8 to that 9-year veteran who was a backup special teams guy, or maybe a backup running back, a backup tight end, backup offensive lineman, who literally kind of was like the father of the locker room, who kind of taught guys how to be professionals. Like all those guys are gone. So there's no in between middle guys. And so literally it's going to be the haves and then the have-nots. And when you're starting to build chemistry, like you said, like there's not going to be running backs who are, core special team guys playing like 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Back in the day, you'd have a lot of running backs who maybe never even started, but yet still they were core special teams guys and can play and have a 9 to 10 year career. And now these guys are faded out after about 1 or 2 or 3 years. And it's kind of sad. That's how it's going. I know the guys who are making the big bucks don't think that's so, but it's definitely squeezing out that middle population of guys that, who were kind of the locker room leaders and kind of taught guys like Priest and myself how to be true pros.
Yeah. So, T-Rex, you talk about locker room. I got one for you. So, who do you think was the best locker room DJ that chose the best choice of music during our days?
Let's see. Who had the DJ?
Who had their finger on the button?
Let's see. Because Larry used to try to control it. He used to try to, but every time Larry turned on some music, somebody was getting some gunshots. There was some 50 Cent in the background.
Yeah, he was violent with his music.
Okay,
always violent. Yeah. Hey, Larry used to have me. He'd have me because my locker was our locker was right there. He would have me listen to Mini Man before every game. I was ready to fight by the time I got out to the field. I'm like, man, why I'm so mad? Man, I can't remember who was the locker room. I can't remember who was the locker room DJ.
Yeah, I know Will, he had the art of dancing.
I don't even know. Yeah, Will had, and I talk about Will Shields all the time because, like, arguably Will's probably the best offensive lineman I think I've ever played with. Will was the only lineman I know that could stand flat-footed and dunk a basketball, dance his butt off, and do a full split. Like Will, I mean, literally, like he had.
Wait, hold on. He can do a full split?
The same Will that we interviewed.
What?
Yes.
A full split. Will could do a split, and you wouldn't even think, like, and he's lost, he slimmed down a lot. Like Will can dance, like when I tell you straight dance, like you get on that dance floor and Will cut a rug. No, he can do a full split. There, he was like literally full split. Can stand flat foot and dunk a basketball. He was the most athletic offensive lineman I've ever been around.
Yeah, one of the small stories that I heard about Will was I didn't get a chance to attend his Hall of Fame, but during that Hall of Fame, afterwards, I think he had like a party or whatnot, and they said that Will danced the whole entire night,
just the whole
didn't
time.
Stop, sweated through the suit and everything.
Skipped the speech.
He'll sweat the gold jacket out.
Yeah, he sweated it out.
Yeah, it's like a dark yellow now. Yeah, it's very dark yellow. Well, I'm glad we're talking about locker room vibes because they still did exist back when you guys were playing. If they have changed in today's game, but were there some very funny or strange pregame routines you witnessed through your years playing? Like, you don't have to name names, but maybe you saw some rituals that like, hey, what's that guy up to? What's he doing there?
Well, funny enough, and you talk about Will, like Will would go to sleep, like he would, and I'm talking about like sleep, like I'm out, like he would literally lay in front of his locker and be like sound asleep in front of his locker. So guys had different things. Jason Dunn, like JD literally would be talking. He ain't got no tape on. He ain't put on his uniform yet. We getting ready to go out. JD just now going to the hot tub. I'm like, dude. And he come out, shoes untied, no tape on, and they go out there and go out and play. But no, I think it was. I mean, guys had different things. But I don't think anything. I just remember Will going to sleep. I'm like, we're about to play the biggest game. He in the locker room, dang near snoring. But he was. I don't think I was able to go to sleep before a game like that.
That's wild. Any superstitions for you? Did you have any superstitions?
Nah, we did the same. We kind of did the same thing. I kind of have. Pretty much eat the same thing for breakfast. I just kind of kept it, kind of quiet. I didn't really have any superstitions though. No.
Let me ask you this, T-Rich. What coach do you think got you the most fired up before kickoff? And I got to tell you this. You remember the one time we talked about Coach Saxon before we jumped on the podcast? There was a time where Coach Saxon broke the clipboard. I think I had either blocked the wrong person and Trent almost got sacked or he got sacked. Yeah. And man, I thought our coach was crazy after that.
Yeah, and funny enough, because when I first came to the Chiefs, Coach Saxon was a running back. We were competing against each other. So then all of a sudden he came back as a running back coach, and I never saw that side of Sax. Man, he broke that clipboard in half. I was like, oh boy, he's serious today.
That taught me one thing is to make sure.
I got a funny one for you though. So we had this strength coach named Billy Long. And so Billy Long was also the get back coach. And I don't remember who we were playing. And the coach and the side judge had told Billy to tell Coach Emil to get back. So he told Coach Emil about 3 or 4 times. So finally Coach Emil said, "You tell that ref to go F himself." All right. So all of a sudden the ball comes to the sideline. Coach Emil ain't paying attention. He got blindsided. Coach Emil was up under the bench. His glasses were broke. The clipboard, his headset was all turned around, everything else. Me and Billy had to walk. This is in the middle of the game. This is like a big game. Me and Billy had to walk 20 feet away from Coach Emil to keep from laughing. Like, that was the funniest thing. I mean, he was like, "You tell that ref." The boom, next thing you know, the headset, his glasses all broke. He almost blew his knee out. He up underneath the bench. Yeah, you bet you get your butt back now.
So funny.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's I think it's time we do a little bit of Mount Rushmore here, Priest.
Yeah,
All right, so let's do a Mount Rushmore here, Tony.
Okay.
Specifically for fullbacks. So top 4 fullbacks all time for you.
Oh man. Well, I mean, number one, you have to say Jim Brown, because Jim Brown in the Hall of Fame, Jim Brown is listed as a fullback. So you have to say Jim Brown, and you got to say Larry Zonka, because those are the two that's in the Hall of Fame. After that, it's tough, because if you start looking at, like, mine personally, like Larry Centers averaged, he was on a pace of like 100 catches per year. If you look at like straight like blocking fullbacks, I got to go with my boy Lo Neal. I'm never gonna put myself in there, because I don't hold myself in that regard, even though, I feel like I put my work in. Sam Gash, you didn't want to you didn't want to get in front of Sam Gash. And if you can kind of look at Mike Allstott, even though Mike Allstott was primarily a runner, but the way, I mean, when Mike Allstott was rolling, it's tough to combat that. But you look at guys like Vontae Leach. I don't know. I'm a fullback guy, so Ernest Bonner. I mean, you look at some of these guys, so I'd have to say those would probably be my maybe top 5 right now.
Nice.
But yeah, you got Jim Brown's number 1 though, obviously, which is kind of crazy. They put Jim Brown as a fullback, but yeah. But
well, you named 2 Cleveland Browns, so that makes me happy with Ernest Biner and Jim Brown. All right, Priest, you know what time it is, and we both know that it's never ordinary with Bet365. It's time to make some predictions. We got a big game coming up this weekend between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. But before we talk about that, it's spooky season. That's right. Happy Halloween, everyone. If you celebrate, I hope you celebrate. If you got kids, I know you're in the trenches right now. That's where I'm at with my daughter, getting our costumes ready to go. But Priest, before we move on, I want to find out from you, was Halloween a big part of your life? And if so, what was your all-time favorite costume you got to don on the holiday that is Halloween?
Well, I think in Texas, and especially in San Antonio, Halloween is a very, very, very big holiday. But for me, I think my best costume ever, and what I would continually probably be if I could do it again, is Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. Are you familiar?
Iron Man. Well, if you can look over my shoulder here, somewhere in there is
yes, indeed.
I got some Marvel comics going on up there. So yeah, Iron Man, near and dear to my heart. Sure. So you like to dress up as Iron Man?
Yeah, put it in my chest. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Beam up and have all that supercharged power. I think that's not only a pretty amazing movie as well, but Iron Man would be my pick of choice of costumes.
Okay. Now, if you had that technology, would you keep it secret, or would you let everybody know that you're Iron Man and you'd flaunt it a little bit? Because as we know, Tony Stark likes,
right.
He's braggadocious. He likes to put it all out there. He likes to let everyone know he's the smartest man in the room. Would you do that? I mean, You're such a humble guy, but man, you put on that Iron Man outfit, and who knows, you might be pre-Stark. So, all right, well, happy Halloween, everybody out there. If you do celebrate, and have some fun out there, be safe, and I hope you get all the candy you want. But we get some candy this weekend in the NFL, because it is the Chiefs versus the Bills. And this is like the marquee matchup every year. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. It's always a back and forth battle, but I'm going to spit some facts at you real quick, Priest, because I think these are kind of unbelievable. Did you know that since Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes have been at the helm for both their teams, this is the record for both these teams? Mahomes is only 1-4 against Josh Allen in the regular season, but
that's hard to believe.
It is very hard to believe. But
yes.
Here's where it gets good for Mahomes. He's 4-0 in the playoffs when the two teams face off. So
he wins when it counts.
Counts. But this is a regular season matchup here,
and that's why it's tough. That's why it's a tough matchup.
And the Chiefs are on the road this week. Mm-hmm. They've won 3 games in a row now. And the Buffalo Bills have finally won a game. They bounced back a little bit after 2 losses. So where do you see this game going? Who do you think's going to win this game outright?
This is not going to be an ordinary game, and I believe that Josh Allen is going to get the win, especially playing at home.
Okay, so
That's
you're
gonna be a
going
tough
with
one.
the Buffalo Bills. You're going to make Mahomes drop to 1-5 in the regular season against the Bills.
Oh, man.
So if we're going to talk about score prediction, are they going to win by a lot, or is this going to be like a 2.5, 3-point game like it usually is when these two teams meet up?
I think about 3 to 4 points. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. Very tight. And I think it's going to be based on a field goal as well. And it will come at the end of the game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think that the Bills are going to jump right out on the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs defense is going to definitely play as hard as they can those first 2 quarters. But it's just something about playing in Buffalo. Man, it's cold.
Yeah,
It's
cold.
their environment. Yes,
It could be
it's
cold. It could be windy.
Yeah.
It could be snowing. It could be anything.
That's
It
right.
could be
And it can happen before halftime or right before the game, mind you. So it's going to be a tough sledding for the Chiefs. But the thing is that they're coming off of a few wins. And so that's what gives them that firepower with the Chiefs going into Buffalo. But Josh Allen, unpredictable. He's a gunslinger. And when you think you got him down, he's a big guy. And I've seen defenders, linebackers, linemen try to hit Allen on the left or right side and just fall to the ground. Pretty massive guy.
All right. I noticed what you said there. You said it was going to be tough sledding for
Yes,
these teams. So you're predicting snow. Okay. So it's going to be snow during this game this early. It's going to be
Hopefully not.
early
Hopefully not
November,
any snow.
early November snow. All right.
It better not be.
So it's going to be a tight game. You're saying within 3. Are we feeling like a game-winning field goal here from?
Yeah, I
from
think
the
it's going to be.
Chiefs?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about a game-winning field goal by the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs goes into halftime with it being a very close game, and it's going to be dependent on that opening 4th quarter drive.
That's right.
what I'm
It
saying.
can't be a game-winning field goal with the Chiefs if you're predicting the Bills. So, all right, let's zero in here on one other sort of prop bet between the two teams. Do you think both teams cross the threshold of 10 points?
Yes.
Okay, what about 15?
Yes.
20?
Wait, let's take that bet. Both teams not past 15. One team past 17 points.
Only one team is going to get
One
over
team.
15 points. Okay, one
team over 15
Okay,
points.
so this could be a 17-14 game. Is that what you're telling me here? Buffalo wins 17-14-ish?
I'm going with 17-14.
Okay, 17-14.
It's going to be a tough game.
17-14 to the Bills. I like it. Okay, so here's where we're going to get into Priest's Beast of the Week, but I'm going to switch it up with you a little bit here. We're not talking running backs because the Chiefs have seemed to go with a running back by committee lately,
Yes.
and Pacheco got banged up a bit. So you got Kareem Hunt back there and their other running backs. So let's focus on the quarterbacks here because that's what everyone's going to be paying attention. They're going to be paying attention to Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. So I'm going to ask you a couple predictions here, and then we're going to make a decision on who this week's Priest's Beast of the Week will be. Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
We'll start with Josh Allen, since he's going to be the winning quarterback, according to you. Total TDs passing. How many TDs is he going to throw for in this game?
2 touchdowns.
2 passing TDs. Any rushing TDs for Josh Allen?
Josh can do it.
He's
a big guy. He's a big guy, and he will pull the ball down and run. He does. He's not afraid of a defender. He's not afraid of getting hit. So yeah, there's a possibility for that as well.
Okay, so
especially if it's in the red zone and it get really tight on the 5 or the 6 yard line.
So we would have to swing one of those 2 touchdowns into a rushing touchdown because they can't get 17 points with 3. So let's go total throwing yards. How many yards do you think he's going to throw for?
Oh man, it might
Putting
be
you on the
like-
spot here, Priest.
Yeah,
what
it
are you
really
feeling?
is. I'm looking at 225 yards.
Okay, 225,
230.
Okay.
225, 230.
225, 230 from Priest, and
Yeah,
then
that'll get you about 14 points. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's 1 rushing and 1 passing.
okay, and then how many interceptions will Josh Allen throw? Do you think he's going to throw any? Maybe he doesn't throw a single interception, or do you think the Chiefs' defense steps up and gets at least 1 pick, maybe 2?
I think coming off of a win like they have against Carolina, I don't see Josh Allen throwing an interception at home.
Okay, no interception at home. Okay, let's flip the script here and talk about Patrick Mahomes. Total passing TDs. If they're only reaching 14, are they going to be both through the air? What do you think? How many passing TDs for Patrick Mahomes?
So I'm giving Patrick a 1 passing touchdown.
Okay. And is he
there's
going to run one in?
It's not going to be Patrick, but there's going to be some type of misdirection where they fake this way, and then here comes a receiver in motion coming back around and toss him and get into the edge.
Okay.
I could definitely see that happening.
Okay, let's hope it's Rashee Rice. I need him every week in fantasy. I know I keep touting him, but I need
is
those
he
TDs.
giving you some points? Yeah, I know that's right. You want those points.
Well, look, he's been successful every single game he's been back. So, yeah, just please score a touchdown every single game. Okay, so 1 passing TD from Mahomes, and the Chiefs will get 1 rushing TD. All right, what about throwing yards from Patrick Mahomes? How many do you think? Is he going to upend Josh Allen, get more than 225, 230? Or do you think
my heart is always with the Chiefs, but, I'm looking at the numbers, and, it's 1 and 4. And Josh Allen has that regular season trophy in terms of getting those wins. So I think the way that the defense is going to be playing for Buffalo, I think they're going to be stingy. And I'm looking at Mahomes at roughly about 175 yards.
Wow, 170. Yeah. That's a big ask from a Buffalo Bills defense that's been struggling. But
they have been.
This could be the turning point for the Bills. They are at home. They always win this matchup when it comes to this.
You know what the key is, Mark? You know what the key is?
What's the key?
It's Halloween. And man, I tell you, yeah, it's Halloween.
So
weekend.
It's going to be all tricks for Mahomes and all treats for Allen. I see where you're going with this.
There you go.
How many picks for Mahomes then? He's been throwing a couple picks lately. So is he going to get 1 or 2?
No, I think Mahomes is going to be much careful. I just think it's going to be a tight. I think it's going to really be a tight game. I think there's going to be a lot of 3 and outs.
Okay.
It's going to be determined, like I said, third quarter going into the fourth. I don't see it just being an upended game on one side where it's just offense all Buffalo, and no defense by the Chiefs. I really feel like it's going to be a tough matchup.
Okay, 17-14 says Priest Holmes. All right, the streak's going to just stay alive here. 1 and 5, you predict regular season for this particular matchup. I want to ask you this, Priest. When you go into a game like this where you know it's going to be tough, maybe it is a close game, you're on the road, this is like a rivalry now, this is a big deal. What do you do to prepare mentally for a game like this? If let's say you're running for the Chiefs right now this week, how are you getting ready?
Well, it's all about execution. And so it starts at the very beginning of the week. The guys that are bringing in, being on time to the meetings, the guys that are getting their treatment. Are they showing up early to get that early morning lift? Are they getting that additional lift during the week? Are you getting your treatment? Are you getting your PT, your massages? Everything counts when you're going into a game where it's going to be very, very tough, to move the ball. And then going to Buffalo and playing there. Here's the thing. I might be very off on this. And the reason why I say that is because I never played in Buffalo my entire career. 11 years, 4 with the Baltimore Ravens, 7 with the Kansas City Chiefs, played Buffalo, of course, at home, but I've never been there. So, I'm not speaking from experience. So, I'm not speaking from experience, Mark. So you might get me on this one.
It's a whole scene there with the Bills Mafia before the game starts. These guys are doing pile drivers into tables. They're lighting stuff on fire. It is a zoo. It is a zoo. One of my best friends growing up as a kid, Priest, he as he got older, he moved to Orchard Park, and he lives right across the street. And whenever the Browns would play the Bills, I would go up there to Buffalo, park at his house, and then we walk right across the street, and it was just chaos. Chaos. Those fans are nuts. They're a lot of fun, and they bring it, and they're going to bring it this weekend when the Chiefs come to town. So according to Priest Holmes, 17-14, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills will be victors. They're going to stop this winning streak of the Chiefs. Let's see if it happens, man. Let's see if it happens. Hey, and as you said at the top of this segment, it's never ordinary with Bet365, and it's never ordinary when the Chiefs play the Bills.
You got that right, Mark. Yeah, it's going to be a great game.
Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only. 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly, and you must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, and Kentucky, as well as Louisiana and select parishes. Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
Well, we're closing out the show here, Priest. Any advice floating at the top of your head after our conversation with
T-Rich? What you got? Yeah, T-Rich, what you got?
You have any advice for everybody?
You're a man
out
of
there?
advice, and you're always advising former players, also students across this country. What do you got for us, man, as far as kids, looking to play football or just, them trying to be successful in life?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, unfortunately, obviously I went to Auburn, and we had a loss of a running back in Rudy Johnson. I think the biggest thing now with everything going on in the world, just making sure we continue to keep just, talking to people and checking on people. And that's, when you reached out to me, Priest, it really, lit me up and just got me excited, because we just have to do a good job of just checking on each other. Like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? All those kind of things. And so I would just tell our young people today, just continue to keep loving on each other, talking to each other, and just continue to never let anyone determine your self-worth. Because I think, looking at my situation, if I would have treated myself like an undrafted running back and thought that I didn't belong in this league, I would never play. And so I had just how my parents raised me, I had a higher self-worth than most people did of myself. And I think that's what kept me around for a long time. So just quiet the noise with the social media, and just, just continue to talk to people and filter the noise out.
That's it.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
That's a good job.
Great way to end the show. Well, thanks again, T-Rich. We appreciate it. Priest, another one in the bag.
That's all right.
Hope you had a good time. I learned a lot about this man who made you look good for a real long time.
Yeah, T-Rich, man.
Make sure if I come to your house, make sure you I know Priest baseboards are going to be clean. I'm looking at mine right now. Spotless. I'm looking down now, spotless.
I like that, spotless.
Hey,
I'm looking right now. I can take I just touched it. Hey,
you gotta.
I got the white glove treatment.
You gotta send us a photo. Take a photo. We'll put it up on screen right here. Look at these baseboards. These are mint condition, man. Brand new, just installed.
All right, appreciate it, T-Rich.
I appreciate it, guys. Love you guys.
All right, that's gonna do it for us. Follow us on all the socials, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And Priest, we'll see you in the next one, man.
Awesome.
This has been a Playmaker production.